most popular Cubs of all time is back here at Wrigley Field, this time as the manager of today's opponent. Rhino is back with the Philadelphia Phillies. We kick off a Labor Day weekend of Cubs baseball here on WGN Sports. It's the Hyundai leadoff man. And kicking off your holiday weekend a little early here today, I'm Len Casper. Welcome to the leadoff man. It is hot. The wind is blowing straight out. We should have some offense today, although the starting pitchers will have a lot to say about that. Roy Halladay against Jeff Samardzija. The big story today, though, Ryne Sandberg is back here in the friendly confines, had a Hall of Fame career with the Cubs. All but 6 career plate appearances were with the Northsiders. He was 15 years in the big leagues, a 10-time All-Star, 9 Gold Gloves, 7 Silver Slugger Awards, and went into the Hall of Fame in 2005. We'll hear from him in a moment. The leadoff man is brought to you by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers, who invite you to come test drive the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit myhyundaichicago.com. You to come test drive the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit myhyundaichicago.com. Well, the Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg did not do it the easy way. 6 years as a minor league manager, including 4 in the Cubs organization, 2 at AAA with the Phillies. He became their third base coach at the big league level this year, and on August 16th was named the interim manager of the Phillies as Charlie Manuel was relieved of his duties. And earlier today, Rhino met the media and said it's been a dream come true.
It's been a living the dream all over again. From minor league, working my way up through the minor leagues to getting to the major leagues this year as a coach, and then having a chance to manage. So it's full circle in a lot of ways, and it's living the dream, and happy where I'm at.
Ryan, what does it mean coming back here, where you had so many great memories yourself?
Well, it means so much. A little different view from this angle here, looking out, but other than that, this is a place that was very comfortable for me as a player. It always solved any slumps that I was in as a hitter. Day baseball, I saw the ball well here. 2 postseason appearances and seasons that were definitely the highlights for me, and also just watching and being part of the transformation here with the fans and people on the rooftops, and the popularity of the club, all that wrapped up into the career. It was great place to be.
Any similar feelings walking in today that you had maybe when you were 21 and your first game?
No. Well, much more comfortable now with what I'm doing than when I was 21, not knowing what if I was even meant to be here. Where this feels good. I think there's no getting around the fact that going to the minor leagues has played a big part in feeling comfortable with what I'm doing, and there's no looking back there. So it all feels good. I feel comfortable. Just needed to think of the right entrance to come in, which was a little bit different today than the other years.
Is it hard to not feel some sort of vindication coming back here as a big league manager when you wanted to be here with the Cubs?
Well, I'm doing what I want to do, so I think that's the main thing. That's baseball, and moving on was important for me to get back to the major leagues, the way that I looked at it and the way that I felt. So, familiar faces and familiar voices called me, and I joined them with the Phillies, and so it didn't take long for me to feel comfortable there in Philadelphia with the Phillies. So that's the other side of the coin. And baseball is all about the relationships, and in some ways, who knows you and who you know, who do you know? And so that's the case here.
Are you in the mindset that things happen for a reason? And it's meant for you to go through whatever you had to go through to get
I think so. I've always had that attitude. Things happen for a reason, and also put in the work and put the time in to give myself a chance to be at this point right now. For me, there was no other path other than starting where I did at the bottom and working the way up. I did that before when I was 18 years old, and to do it again, I think was perfect for me. I didn't want to come here and have an opportunity that I have now and not be prepared, and so I feel very good about that. Feel prepared, and the 6 years in the minor leagues played a huge part in that.
So we'll have the Phillies and the Cubs coming up, Labor Day weekend action, and when we come back, a Cubs minor league report. Stay with us. The all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit myhyundaichicago.com. Now your Cubs minor league report. We focus in on the High A Daytona Cubs. They've won 9 in a row. They will be a playoff team. Right-hander Corey Black came over from the Yankees and the Alfonso Soriano deal is 4-0 in the Cubs organization. The Cubs possibly could get 4 of their affiliates into postseason action. Great pitching matchup. Halladay and Samardzija. Phillies and Cubs, and Rhinos return. Live at the corner of Clark and Addison in Chicago on a hot and windy day, and we're set for Chicago Cubs baseball. On WGN Sports, the Phillies and Cubs open up a holiday weekend set, and we welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Great to have you with us, Jim DeShays and Len Casper. It's a 9-game homestand. Ryan Sandberg's back here as the interim manager of the Phillies. More on that coming up, but a great pitching matchup. Roy Halladay and Jeff Samardzija. We start with the Cubs pitcher today, coming off a great week.
Yeah, winning at home has been a struggle for the Cubs lately. They need Samardzija to step up today, and why wouldn't he? The way he's been throwing the ball lately, last 2 times, very, very good. He was the National League Player of the Week last week. A little revenge on his mind today. The Phillies really treated him roughly back on August 8th in Philadelphia.
Roy Halladay had right shoulder surgery, missed 99 games. He came back a little early in his last start, so this is his second outing since coming back from the deal.
In that first game, velocity was down. That was something we'll keep an eye on today. You see the great numbers in August. Every month for Roy Halladay has been a great month. His .660 winning percentage, the best among all active pitchers.
Wayne Messmer has our national anthem.
With our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition on WGN TV is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Today's game is available in Spanish on your SAP audio setting, provided by WRTO La Tremenda, Chicago's Spanish language sports leader.
We'll get you the Phillies lineup. It's been a struggle for them on the road. They've dropped 15 of their last 18 away from Citizens Bank Park and hitting just over 200 during this stretch on the road. Michael Young will play third and lead off. Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, the double play combination. Dominic Brown will clean up in left. Carlos Ruiz, a Cub killer in his career, is the catcher. Darren Ruff, big month here in August, 9 home runs for the rookie. John Mayberry, Roger Bernardino, the former National, and Roy Halladay, interesting, has struck out in all 13 at bats. And here comes Ryne Sandberg to exchange a lineup card with Jamie Quirk, the Cubs bench coach.
Fans just settling into their seats now, just getting a sense of what's going on at home plate with Sandberg out there to exchange the lineup card.
So the Cubs hosting the Phillies coming up. We'll have the first pitch right after this. Ryne Sandberg back at Wrigley.
Do you believe it? It's gone!
Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. From shutouts to walk-offs, we've been celebrating the greatest moments in Major League Baseball for over 30 years. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer or go to shophonda.com for current offers. And by AT&T. Find out what's possible with products and services from AT&T. Rethink possible. Get to the umpires today. James Hoy will call balls and strikes. Wouldn't it be great if his middle name were Chipsa?
It might be.
It might be. Jim Reynolds, the crew chief at first. Bob Davidson, Balk and Bob at second, and Quinn Walcott over at third.
Well, let's take a look now at the Cubs defense. It's brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. In the outfield, we see Bogusevic, Lake, and Shearholtz left, center, and right. Murphy, Castro, Barney, Rizzo on the infield. Donovan Barney, just 4 errors this year. Nobody that's played every day as a second baseman's made fewer. Leonardo Navarro behind the plate for Jeff Samardzija, who's 8-11 with a 4.03 ERA. And as I mentioned, revenge on his mind. August 8th, Phillies touched him up for 11 hits, 9 runs, all earned in just 3 1/3 innings.
Interesting, he's going with the long sleeves underneath the jersey. He's probably going to lose a few pounds today. It's hot.
Probably to control the sweat a little bit, to eat up some of that moisture so he gets a little better grip on the ball. That would be my best guess. Either that or he just wants to macho up and say, you know, mind over matter. No, it's not hot. I'm going to wear my sleeves today. I'm going to go with the former explanation now. I think that makes more sense.
Phillies flew in last night after a series against the Mets in New York. The Cubs were off. This homestand will feature the Phillies, Marlins, and Brewers.
A chance to get things turned around for the Cubs here at home with 3 sub-500 clubs. This Philly team, as you mentioned, really struggling on the road. It's kind of interesting. The Cubs are an identical 3-15 in their last 18 home games.
So the veteran Michael Young will start it for the Phillies, who beat the Cubs 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia earlier. 1 ball, no strikes.
Phillies have struggled to score runs all year long.
That's high. It's 2-0. Sweltering 91 degrees and a stiff breeze at 12 miles an hour straight out to center. And a line drive base hit into right center to start it.
It's pretty much defines Michael Young's career, that swing right there. Line drive hitter, sprays the ball all over the field. Typically has a bunch of doubles. Doesn't walk much, but he can put the barrel on the ball.
The Cubs have outscored the Phillies on the season by 5 runs. Both teams in the bottom 5 in the majors in runs. As Jimmy Rollins will stand in. This is the 1049th start for Rollins and Chase Utley together as the Phillies double play combination. That's the most among active combos as he pops it up. Wind playing tricks with it as Castro makes the grab, and that's the first out. Here's Utley, who had a huge series against the Cubs earlier this month. 6 for 9 with 4 knocked in. During that series, he got a new 2-year contract plus several option years. Donnie Murphy way off the line at third. He's almost playing short as the Cubs shift against Utley. Ball 1.
Ruben Amaro opting not to muck his card, staying with this veteran club. There's a lot of talk at the trade deadline that they might try to move some of the veteran pieces, but they've got guys secured to long-term deals and remain in go-for-it mode. This guy's been an outstanding player.
Time now for Xfinity Home from Comcast. Yeah, Rhino said the first thing I'll probably check is his flag out there in right, blowing in this pretty brisk wind here today. Get peace of mind with Xfinity Home, the total home security and home control solution that keeps you more connected to what matters most. Swing and a miss.
Like a splitter that had a little cutting action. Samardzija in his last 2 starts, very efficient. The complete game over Washington threw 105 pitches. Last time against the Padres, 106 pitches in 8 innings of work, and that approach would serve him well here today in this heat.
Jeff already at a career high in innings pitched as he strikes out Utley. 2 down.
Went back with the same exact pitch to finish him.
So he's getting into uncharted territory in terms of pitching throughout the month of September. He was shut down early in September due to his innings last season. And with 2 down, it's Dominic Brown, their cleanup hitter.
Most people in the industry feel like a 20% jump from one year to the next. Not a lot to ask from a starting pitcher who's just kind of developing.
27 homers, 3rd most in the National League. Brown just got back in their lineup yesterday after missing a handful of starts due to a sore right Achilles. He knocked in 5 runs in that 3-game set against the Cubs in Philly.
And Brown, an all-star, a guy they've been waiting for a couple of years now. And you see everything else under the lights.
We're under that big natural light.
Yeah, and if it's a 3-way, it's turned all the way up.
A high pop-up. The wind should push this one into the outfield grass. It will. Barney makes a catch, and the inning is over. The Phillies don't score. Roy Halladay coming up against this Cubs offense when we come back. In the 4-game series against the Nationals on the last homestand. Castro, Lake, and Rizzo will start it. Navarro, Sherholtz, and Murphy in the middle. Bogusevic, Barney, and Samardzija will round it out.
Defensively, the fighting Phils. Dominic Brown, he struggled in the outfield in that series in Philly. Bernardino recently acquired. He had been let go by the Nationals. Speedy guy in center. Mayberry's got right. Young, Rollins on the left side. Utley's committed 15 errors this year. Remember, he's been hurt. He hasn't played every day. Darren Ruff's the first sacker. Carlos Ruiz solid behind the plate for veteran right-hander Roy Halladay. Just 3-4 with a high ERA. Really struggled early on. DL, surgery, and now he's back.
Starlin Castro greets him with a hard hit ball that goes foul for a strike.
The word is that Halladay's velocity is down because of the surgery. He's been able to get his arm back up to his normal slot, so he's getting good sink.
Pulled on the ground to third. That's Michael Young. Several Cubs played for Rhino in the Cubs minor league system. Castro, AA with Tennessee. Darwin Barney was at 3 different minor league levels with Ryan Sandberg, Blake Parker, James Russell. Now Junior Lake. And a bunted foul. And I think it bears repeating, and we talked about this in the Dodgers series. Don Mattingly, the lifelong Yankee, seemed to be in line to get the Yankee job, did not. Said it worked out well. He ended up getting the Dodger job. Dale Swaim, longtime Milwaukee Brewer player and coach, got a taste of managing 12 games and then the playoffs in 2008. Did not get the full-time job in 2009, and Dale would tell you it worked out well for him. He's now here with the Cubs. I think more often than not, you got to leave home.
Well, if you hire the franchise icon, it comes with a certain amount of risk if it doesn't pan out. Sandberg gets a chance to manage the Philly club where he started as a professional.
Went 1 for 6 in 1981 before getting traded over the winter to the Cubs. And his one hit as a Philly was at Wrigley Field off Mike Krukow. 2-2 the count on Lake. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Rhino pretty much won throughout his minor league career as a manager. Baseball America in 2011 named him the minor league skipper of the year. He was the 2010 manager of the year in the Pacific Coast League with Iowa. So he did it the hard way.
Yeah, and I think more important than the one-loss record, because sometimes that really doesn't tell you a whole lot about a manager's skill set. It's just the experience he gained by managing all those minor league games.
Anthony Rizzo with a towering fly ball. The wind's going to carry that one way back and out of here. A lot of days early, that ball would have stayed in the yard, but not today. Got it up in the jet stream.
Boy, he's done a lot of good work when he attacks early. First pitch swinging. He's hit a number of his home runs in that situation. Cubs draw first blood. The home run ball had been an issue for Halladay before he got hurt, and this thing just flattens out. That's just a nothing changeup or a splitter at 80 miles an hour right over the heart of the plate.
His 21st of the year. And the Cubs strike early. Now Deoner Navarro, outside corner. Rizzo, by the way, trying to become the 5th Cub to lead the team in homers, RBIs, walks, and doubles in a single season since 1950. One and two. Hank Sauer, 1952. Ernie Banks in 57. And then Derek Lee in 05. And Aramis Ramirez in 06.
That's pretty good company.
Yep. Ground ball, backhanded by Ruff. Halladay covering, and that's it. 2-out homer, Anthony Rizzo, and it's 1-0 Cubs.
WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by the Great Escape Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
Cubs leading on an Anthony Rizzo home run, and it's Chuch Ruiz. Phillies catcher due to become a free agent after the season. And he takes ball one.
Very valuable piece on those playoff teams the Phillies had. Solid behind the plate, got a lot of big hits for them.
Always hit the Cubs well. He's got a 10-game hitting streak. Versus Chicago, now the 2-0. Outside, 3 balls, no strikes. Jeff Samardzija, last week's co-National League Player of the Week, shared that honor with rookie right-hander Jose Fernandez of the Miami Marlins. We'll see the Marlins on Monday.
It's been a while since we've seen the fish.
I think it was April, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. At least it feels like it was April. Been a long time.
Popped him up. Good comeback by Samardzija after a 3-0 start. Murphy will catch it in foul territory. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years. Catch all of the second half action in HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Darren Ruff is connected 9 times already this month. 27 games. 2 of those homers against the Cubs. There's a base hit.
And one of them was off Samardzija in that game we referenced earlier. And big guy, plenty of power.
Bring up John Mayberry playing right.
It's interesting that Sarge dropped by a while back, and I asked him about his approach here at Wrigley with the wind blowing out. I said, do you lean back and try to just hit everything in the air? Said, no, you got to try to hit line drives. Try to lift the ball, you're just going to end up popping up. Talk to other hitters to say when they see the wind blowing out, it's exactly what they're trying to do, is lean back and lift. That's the challenge for a hitter, is just to kind of stay within your game, maintain the same approach. I would think the temptation would be not to walk, to look to swing the bat, to take advantage of the wind blowing out.
A bouncer over Murphy. They'll get one, and that's it. Wow, that ball took a huge hop over the Cubs' third baseman, but Castro was right behind him.
That was pretty fancy. Funky too. Looked like it's just going to be a routine ground ball to Murphy, and then boop, like it was a super ball up over his head. Castro, who would not quit on the play there to get the force at second. It's had some top spin.
Back by Roger Bernardina. Bernardina playing in his 9th game with the Phillies, signed as a free agent on August 21st, 2 days after being released by the only organization he had ever known, the Expos/Nationals. He signed with Montreal as a 17-year-old back in 2001. Got tossed to first. It was close.
Inside pitch, slide behind the left-handed hitter. Good try. Even if you don't get him, you maybe tighten up that secondary lead a little bit.
With Rhino going from third base to the dugout, Juan Samuel went from first base to third base. And Wally Joyner is now their first base coach. Swing and a miss.
He's got that splitter working nicely to the left-handed hitters. That's what he got Utley with. At times, he'll have that pitch drift off the plate on him. He'll fly open a little bit, and he doesn't get swings and misses. When he throws that on the plate, he catches a lot of left-handed hitters out in front.
And he got him. A single, no runs for the Phillies in the second. The Cubs lead early, 1-0. Glenn and JD's baseball blog at WGNTV.com. Sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your nationwide insurance agent. Serving the area for 34 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. We have game notes. We have a list of seventh inning stretch singers on this homestand, and also the Ryan Sandberg pregame news conference. Nate Scherholz trailing Anthony Rizzo by a couple of home runs for the team lead. Pulls that ball foul down the right field line.
Yeah, right now, things can change in a hurry in this game. Boy, Halladay doesn't have a lot going for him. Not a lot of zip on the fastball. He's not getting the sinking action. The changeup he threw to Rizzo was really flat.
Line to center, and Bernardina made the catch.
Challenge flag. Bob Davidson, the second base umpire, hustling out with the call. Did he get it right? By golly, he did. Good call. Good catch. Hang on to the challenge flag.
I was thinking about if there is such a thing, the manager challenges where you literally throw something. My suggestion, not that anyone would listen to me, is that Dale does not actually have those on his person for this reason. I can see a manager just go, just throw it,
right?
Because you're so emotionally invested. It's probably better to have like your bench coach have them and hand it to the manager,
or it's in a little lockbox that you have to actually open.
Donnie Murphy. It's a high fly to left. Dominic Brown makes the grab. And let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Brown had a little trouble on a couple of fly balls in that Cubs series in Philadelphia. Well, Brian Bogusevic with 2 gone.
That home run allowed by Halliday to Rizzo, the 10th long ball that he has allowed this year, and a little over 41 innings of work. And that just speaks to the physical problems he had early and the inability to sink the ball and the fact that there wasn't any life on it. And again, that's kind of what's going on here today. But he's been such a sturdy guy over the years. Doctors have told him velocity will probably be the last thing that comes back.
I remember it was a source of controversy in spring training and early in the season. A lot of people were questioning his stuff. And I think we found out why.
Well, yeah, he was throwing from a lower arm angle, and they were trying to kind of hide the injury, I think, or maybe just his mindset was, I don't want people talking about the injury. So he was clearly working from a lower arm angle because of the pain that the shoulder injury was causing. And it just got to the point where he couldn't be effective, and they decided to go ahead and put him on the DL and ultimately do the surgery.
36 years old, 6'6", 230. That ball hit Bogusevic to keep the inning alive for Darwin Barney.
Well, he's been a real workhorse over the years, typically way up 250, 260 innings at times. He's had his struggles here when it's been hot. Back to recent starts here at Wrigley Field. His last 3, July 2010, gave up 6 runs on an 86-degree day, and then 2011, just 4 innings of work on a 91-degree day. But May of last year, cooler weather, better results.
I remember the game in 2011. He had heat exhaustion, just looked completely gassed. And right now it's 93 degrees, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, he did something in the first inning I've never seen anybody. He took the rosin bag to his face. I've never seen anybody do that before.
A 1-0 to Barney is a called strike. So the May 15th operation for Halliday, a debridement of the labrum and rotator cuff, and the removal of an inflamed bursa. He's hit back-to-back Cubs with 2 outs.
Struggling with his release point, not getting the sinking action he's hoping for, and just trying to find an answer squarely in the middle of back there for Darwin Barney. Couple on for Samardzija. By the way, that'd be a good band.
Inflamed bursa?
Yeah.
I think Roy and the rotator cuffs is pretty good too. Bernardina to end the inning. Couple of hit batters, but no runs. It's the Cubs 1 and the Phillies nothing after 2.
road with a chance to clinch, and we played a game, and everyone's in there undressing, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and said, hey, wait a minute, you know, nobody's leaving out there. So we had to go out and parade around the field, and a little pre-celebration of what we're going to do on the road. So, you know, those winning moments, big.
That's our AT&T U-verse replay. Rhino talking about that great moment in '84. He was close on the details. It actually was the final regular season game. They had already clinched the division. Find out what's possible with products and services from AT&T. Rethink possible. If you were there, you'll remember it. And if you were watching closely, did you see Leon Durham's shower shoes? He didn't even have his spikes on.
Good enough to put his pants back on. Got a chance to witness history right now.
We do. Here's Roy Halladay. He has struck out in 13 consecutive at-bats to start this season. That has tied the major league record for most strikeouts in consecutive plate appearances in a single season, tying Dean Chance in 1968. The NL record was held by Sandy Koufax, who had struck out in 12 in a row in 1955. The record for non-pitchers is 9 in a row, held by several players, and he's not going to break it. Might get a hand from his teammates for putting a ball in play.
Should do a cartwheel or something.
We'd love to hear from you. Len and JD at Tribune.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter as well. You might head right up to their clubhouse, get some air conditioning. Although it's
such a long walk.
Quite a walk.
Just settle into the tunnel out of the sun with a big fan blowing on him. Wrap a cold towel around his neck.
Young getting the start at third. He's played the corner spots on the infield. They have a rookie, Cody Ashe, who's been red hot, but he's also nursing a sore hamstring, so he's not in the lineup today. So anything exciting for you on the off day?
Well, let me see. No, not really.
Swing and a miss. 2 outs.
Put in a little time at the pool for a little stroll about.
Good day for it. I spent the day looking for Jeff Samardzij's doppelganger, and I think I found it.
Good work.
An old picture of Glenn Fry from the Eagles. I was watching the great Eagles documentary. That's a great photo right there with John Belushi wearing a Minnesota Vikings jacket.
It could be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
I showed that picture to Jeff, and he liked it. He was in.
I think that was Guido Sarducci in the background of that picture. Father Guido Sarducci. Apologize.
One to Rollins, a swing and a miss.
See in the background, maybe.
Possibly.
Don Novello. Just if you were to put a caption on that, I think maybe mayhem would be the proper word.
2-2. Well, the great story involving John Belushi and the Eagles. Joe Walsh, when they were in Chicago, went out to dinner with Belushi. They wanted to go to a really fancy restaurant. They couldn't get in because they were wearing jeans. So they bought some black spray paint. They painted each other's blue jeans black. They got into the restaurant, swing and a miss. When they got up from their fancy chairs, there was black paint all over the chairs. The back of their pants was blue, and they had to back out of the restaurant. Report brought to you by the Illinois Bone and Joint Institute. IBJI, helping you move better so you can live better. Visit IBJI.com. Valbuena and Sweeney may be back with the Cubs as soon as Sunday when the rosters expand. They have been rehabbing at Mesa along with Rafael Dolis. Scott Baker will make another start with Kane County on Monday, I believe, and then the Cubs will reassess. Underway in the Cubs' third. Castro grounded out in the first. Called strike.
This is Halliday's second start since coming off the disabled list. Last time it was a game that he was not supposed to pitch. The Phillies played an 18-inning ball game, so they needed a starter for the next day, and Halliday was supposed to make a rehab start.
This will be handled by Utley. Yeah, Double-A Reading
just down the road from Philly. So they went to plan B, called Halliday up, and he pitched effectively. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, walked a couple, struck out 2.
While he was in New York this week, he spoke to Matt Harvey about the young right-hander's partially torn ulnar collateral ligament, something similar to what Halliday went through in 2006. He did not have surgery, rehabbed it, says has not had a forearm issue since.
2006 through last year, only CC Sabathia has thrown more innings than Halliday. Only Sabathia and Verlander have more wins than the guy they call Doc.
Bernardina retires late.
Let's take a look at our drive to victory. Changeup, not thigh high for Rizzo. Into the right field bleachers it goes. His 21st home run. Drive to victory is brought to you by your local Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Mazda dealers. When Roy was up in Toronto, they would have said Mazda.
Rizzo, ball 1. Harry Leroy Halliday. Goes by Roy or Doc, as you mentioned. Wasn't always easy. Not that it's been easy this year. Times in previous seasons made it look that way. 2000. But the Blue Jays had a huge ERA. Worked on some things in the minors the following year with Mel Queen. He was a pitching coach in the Toronto organization. That included lowering his arm angle. Really helped his sinker. And then would go on to win the American League Cy Young in 2003. He won the 2010 NL Award. Unanimous winner as a Philly. In 03 with the Blue Jays, he didn't win a game in April. Then he led the American League with 22 wins. How about that? All of his wins coming May 1st and after. 3-2.
204 strikeouts that year against 32 walks. Which was made him so tough with that sinker. You know, it was a turbo sinker, good breaking ball, so he could strike you out. More often than not, when it was in play, it was on the ground.
This ball will land foul. With the wind direction today, you certainly can't give up on a ball like that, as the wind will try to keep it fair. You referenced all the innings pitched. A little old school for Halliday in that 03 season against Detroit, September 6th. 10-inning complete game shutout. A 1-0 final. It took 2 hours and 3 minutes. And he just walked Rizzo.
get by on guts and guile here today. He does not have good stuff at all. Cub hitters would be wise to be patient, because he's not going to throw many pitches over the heart of the plate. He's going to try to get them to expand.
Cubs had to face Greinke and Kershaw in Los Angeles. Struggled against Greinke. They beat Kershaw. Now Halladay, and then tomorrow Lee. As this long week of games against former Cy Young Award winners continues.
We should have promoted it. It's not Shark Week, but it's Cy Young Week.
Kind of is Shark Week. At least last week was for Jeff Samardzija.
At 88, one of the better fastballs he's thrown, maybe the best.
Cardinals got some bullpen help today, acquiring John Axford from the Brewers.
Because that's what they need, is another hard thrower in that bullpen.
Player to be named will go the other way. Swing and a miss by Navarro. It's 2-2. Jason Kubel is now a Cleveland Indian.
Well, big series for the Tribe. They've got Detroit. They're down by 6.5. They're 4 games out of the wild card. So I still feel like they have a shot. Kubel could provide them a nice lift. It's been an off year for him.
Yeah, he had been DFA'd by the Diamondbacks earlier this week. And today acquired by the Indians.
Any terms on that deal?
I think cash or a player to be named. I would always take the cash. That's just me. But I'm not a general manager. Oh, they'll get cash and a minor league player to be named in return. That deflected off the glove of Ruff. It'll go 3-4-1 to end the inning. Cubs lead 1-0 after 3. Rizzo home run. Jeff Samardzija looked strong here early on. Probably the worst start of his career against the Phillies on August 8th. In Philadelphia, 3 1/3, 11 hits and 9 runs, but a much different story here today.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes out over the plate in that outing. Just had a hard time commanding his fastball and his splitter in that game. Sharp here today. Got Utley a couple of good split finger pitches back in the first. He's a 5-time All-Star.
Health, that's been the biggest issue for him here the last few years. Staying on the field.
This game very much like his manager's game. Steal a base for you. Not as many as Sandberg, but Utley a very effective base stealer. Hits for average, hits for power. Career OPS of 872.
The 1-1 is inside. 2 balls and a strike. Michael Morris headed from the Mariners to the Orioles, it appears.
Well, yeah, because September 1, if you're not on the roster by September 1, you're not eligible for the playoffs. So makes sense that deals would be getting done here.
Late drifting back, blocking that piercing sun, makes a catch, 1 away.
Tickets are still available for games in September, so don't miss your chance to enjoy Wrigley Field before the summer is over. Cubs play games against Miami, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and then finish out the home season against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That could be intriguing. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Rafael Betancourt's going to have Tommy John surgery. Well, he might not be able to pitch until the year after next, when he will be 40. I didn't realize he was that old.
I didn't either.
He's been pretty good. It's the Rockies closer.
Wow.
Jeff Samardzija's been really good. That is his 5th strikeout.
Well, and this one splitter. No need to change the approach, I guess, with Dominic Brown. 3 straight split finger fastballs down out of the zone. But again, the key on the plate. You see where they're located. They're on the plate, but down. When it's off the plate, the hitters see it. They lay off it. When it starts in the zone over the plate, that's when he gets those swings and misses.
I kind of like the trend this week for the Cubs starting rotation. You had Clayton Kershaw, Travis Wood matching up on Tuesday. Everybody talking about what a year Kershaw has had. Might be a Cy Young winner again, but Wood beat him. Today the headline's all about Ryne Sandberg returning to Wrigley Field. Samardzija facing a former Cy Young winner, and Jeff has stolen the headlines early on.
Yeah, on a day where we thought there'd be a lot of runs go up on the board, so far just 1 belongs to the home team. Maybe we're overplaying this wind. If you're striking people out, it doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah, it is a good day to miss bats. 2-2 misses, 3-2. Ruff is on deck.
Ooh, 95 on that heater. He's tried to reach back for a little something and get it by Ruiz. Didn't take note, but this is the kind of day where a starting pitcher might shorten his warm-up, his pregame warm-up a little bit. Easy to get loose today. You don't want to use too much energy down there in that bullpen. Save as many bullets as you can.
Hit a ton, but foul.
Splitter a little tougher to fool the right-handed hitter because with righty on the mound, they're thinking about staying in a little longer, so they're less susceptible to being fooled by the off-speed pitch generally.
Barney to Rizzo to end the inning. Very sharp Jeff Samardzija early, leading the Phillies 1-0. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We had a power outage here at the ballpark, and you missed a lot. Nate Scherholtz led off the inning with a line drive home run into the bleachers in right. Donnie Murphy then with a bloop, Sun-aided double. Brian Bogusevic walked, and a 2-0 count on Darwin Barney. So it's 2-0 with 2 on here in the bottom of the 4th. Barney pops it foul out of play.
Ironic that we had the power outage. And Scherholtz hit the home run.
Right. No power outage for the Cubs offense. Jumping all over Roy Halladay here in the 4th inning.
And proof, yes, if you don't see it on TV, it still counts.
Fly ball. Bernardina had trouble with the Murphy fly. This one will be caught by Mayberry. Murphy tagging, and off to third he goes.
Again, it looked like Bernardina having a hard time tracking that one, so Mayberry came over to lend support and bailed him out. But in so doing, you know, with the two guys converging there, he's back on his heels a little bit as he made that catch and heads up tag and advance by Murphy.
Longtime Phillies pitching coach Rich Doobie out to the mound. They'll talk things over with Halladay.
And Phillies are going to have to make a decision on Halladay. Not just today, but for the future. He has a real tight bond with Rich Doobie. And with, you know, Ryan Sandberg on board as an interim manager, there's, you know, no guarantee Doobie's going to be back. Safety squeeze.
Bunted foul.
Jabbed at it.
Pulled it back. And it's 1-1.
That's where the mental toughness really comes into play. Any kind of extreme circumstances, heavy rain, extreme cold, extreme heat.
Oh, it hit his bat. And it's a fair ball, and Samardzija tagged out. I think when the ball hit his bat, his head was turned the other way. So that's what you call a sacrifice.
That's amazing. Talked earlier about the run, and Halladay's hit 2 right-handed batters already today, or 1 right-handed batter. And this would have gotten Samardzija. Turns his head, leaves the bat out there, and boy, lucky he didn't get a broken finger out of this. The ball just continues to chase him.
And that was his right hand. Yeah, that would have knocked him out of the game an inch up the barrel, and he would have been in dire straits.
And a tough read for Murphy down there at third base, because you don't anticipate at that point that ball being put in play. But he gets credited with the sacrifice with Bogusevic moving into scoring position. Castro came into this game with really good numbers against Halladay. He was 7 out of 14 against him. 0 for 2 so far today.
The pitch on the outside corner, barely 1-1. I mean, that ball about an inch away from possibly ending his season. It could have been a broken index or middle finger on his pitching hand. Driven out into the gap. That'll get both of them in. Murphy and Bogusevic will score. Castro's going to hold at second with a 2-run double. 4-0.
That was a big 2-out knock from Castro. So a cheap double on the bloop, lost in the sun off the bat of Murphy, but nothing cheap about this one. Solid line drive into the alley in right center. That's his sweet spot. Even off-speed pitch in the zone. Pretty good chance he's going to hit it hard.
Pulled on the ground, foul. Well, if Halladay gets out of this inning with only the leadoff home run, 2-0, he feels like he's still in the game. You feel like you've let him off the hook. That one behind Lake. Junior kind of a look at Halladay as if to say, what was that all about? I don't think Halladay has any idea where it's going half the time.
No, he looks like a guy who was brought back a little too early. Again, brought back to make that last start because of the 18-inning game the Phillies had played the night before. You know, if that doesn't happen, I'm not sure he's even making this start, let alone the one he took a few days back. That's hard to get out of the way of that pitch because your natural inclination is to move backwards when you see the ball coming in your direction.
The wild pitch puts Castro at third. And a ground ball to short. Rollins will pick it up. Lake hustling, but he's out by a half a step. Scherholtz the homer. Castro the 2-run double. And the Cubs lead 4-0.
First, it's the sound of history being made. Here we go. There he went.
Well, we didn't see it, but it happened. We saw it. Our television audience did not. Nate Scherholz with his 20th home run of the season. Starlin Castro knocked in 2 with a double. 1 strike on Darren Ruff. Mentioned the 18-inning game they had against the Diamondbacks, a loss on Saturday. Ruff started the game at first, then went to left, then went to right, then went back to left. He went 2 for 9 with a home run and a double. You feel good you hit a home run, but you hit 222 in the game.
But if he was 3 for 9, he would have been hitting 333. Somewhere there had to be a hard hit ball. That would have been a knock.
The 2-1 delivery. Power to fastball past him. It's now 2-2.
Yeah, but you get into those long extra inning games, and you just don't want to be the guy who sucks up to like the 0 for 11, punches out 7 times.
Full count, 3-2. We'll send out a happy 91st birthday wish to Tilly Ryback from Chicago. Hope you're enjoying it. Shallow center, Castro on the back pedal for the out. Don't miss the action as the Cubs battle these Phillies tomorrow, August 31st at 3:05, and the first 10,000 fans get an exclusive limited edition Anthony Rizzo bobblehead. For more information or to purchase tickets, go to Cubs.com. Cliff Lee and Chris Russin in a matchup of lefties. A bounce at a third off the bat of Mayberry. Murphy throws him out. 10 in a row sent down by Samardzija. Are you ready for the tour de force that is John Lovitz in the 7th inning?
Yeah, I am. Looking forward to that.
He is.
Does he tend to get a little loose up here?
What I would call a bucking bronco.
Maybe he'll be subdued by the heat.
No. Knows his baseball. He invented a term called a flowl. That's a fly ball that goes foul out of play. Coined that term in our booth 2 years ago. A flowl.
Hasn't really caught on, has it?
No, but we bring it up once a year.
Why is it a fly ball that stays fair, a flare?
There you go.
I guess sometimes it is.
Sometimes if it's not hit very hard, it is a flare.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, here we are.
Good to be back. We're here for a good long while. Second to last homestand of the year. Samardzija had 64 pitches working here in the 5th.
Called strike 3 to get Bernardino. He's punched out 6 and he's got a 4-0 lead. 5 start tomorrow, and then 1 o'clock for the leadoff man on Sunday to wrap up this series, and then on Labor Day, that's Monday, against the Miami Marlins here on WGN. Ford, go further in any one of Ford's many fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. A rude welcome back to Ryan Sandberg as the Cubs lead the Phillies 4-0. Rizzo and Scherholtz are both homered, and Anthony will lead off the 5th.
Little heat on Rhino, you would think, if he named the full-time manager for this club. Big payroll, veteran team, replacing a guy who was the winningest manager in Phillies history.
Drilled into center for a leadoff single.
So having a day so far, 3 trips, home run, walk, solid single.
Hit very hard, but Rollins can't get it. Rizzo's going to stop at second. Back-to-back singles to begin the 5th.
Smile on the face of Gianna Navarro. He had a couple of those on the road trip. Little soft flares into center this time. Right off the end of the bat. Semi-line drive.
Scherholtz lined out his first time. And a booming home run his second time up. And he looks at strike 1.
Now 11th in the National League in slugging percentage. He was coming into play today, a little over 500.
Infield fly rule in effect as Young makes the grab right in front of the mound.
This Sunday, Cubs play the Phillies in the finale of this 3-game set. It's a 120 ball game. First 5,000 kids 13 and younger will receive a Cubs die-cast car, compliments of Toyota. After the ball game, the first 1,000 children will have the opportunity to run the bases. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Right-hander Zach Miner up in the Phillies bullpen. Big series for Murphy in Philadelphia. 5 hits, 3 homers. He's 1 for 2 today with a double and a run scored.
Yeah, he had that 2-home run game. I believe that's when we started calling him Donnie Baseball. Just $158 on the recent road trip. 3 out of 19.
Brown in and has it. Moving particularly well on that sore Achilles.
Yeah, it's a kind of day today where a lot of times you want to be the third option, you know, with the wind blowing and bright sky overhead. You're hoping somebody will come call you out, especially if you're banged up a little bit. But he was taking charge. He was calling it.
Some repairs in the Cubs dugout.
Talking earlier about the Phillies having a decision to make. They hold a $20 million option on Halladay for next year. No way they're going to exercise that. They may be looking to bring him back. Incentive-laden contract. And so these are important starts for him to kind of help reestablish some value. People around baseball know he's healthy.
Base hit. Rizzo around third. Here comes Mayberry's throw to the plate. Way up the line. The throw goes to second. Out. Bogusevic out at second, but he does knock in a run, and it's 5-0 Cubs at the end of 5.
I want to recognize the Chevy Exchange for their support of the Lake Bluff Youth Baseball Association. The Chevy Exchange and your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevrolet dealers are supporting over 30,000 young ball players in their communities through the Chevy Youth Baseball program. Since 2010, the Chicago area Chevy dealers have been providing equipment kits, instructional clinics, and much needed financial support to little guys just like that. So once again, from the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of baseball.
Brian Bogusevic with an RBI single. He's reached all 3 times. Cubs leading comfortably 5-0. The main reason for that comfort has been Jeff Samardzij's performance through 5. Just 2 hits allowed, both coming early. Kevin Franzen hitting for Halladay here in the 6th. Rough ride for Doc. Second start back from the DL. Laced into center. Lake can't get it. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Franzen coming around second on his way to third. He will be held there by Juan Samuel. Some Phillies fans are booing. They wanted to see Franzen go for 4.
Junior coming like a house of fire, but he forgot something. This line drive from Franzen, able to elude him. And then he got a little piece of it. Unfortunately, not able to knock it down, and it goes all the way to the center field wall. The most exciting play in baseball, the triple, unless you wave him home, and it's even more exciting. It would have been fun to watch, but it was a smart decision by Juan Samuel. Down 5.
Franzen just snapped an 0 for 16 as a pinch hitter. And the Phillies will get on the board as Michael Young into the right field corner for a long single, and it's now 5-1. After Samardzija had retired 11 in a row, Phillies with back-to-back hits to start the 6th. That'll bring up Rollins, a switch-hitting shortstop. Ball 1.
See if the Philly hitters can make an adjustment here. 3rd time through the order. Young has gotten Samardzija for base hits twice today. But Rollins, Utley, Brown, Ruiz, a collective 0 so far.
Since 1974, only Ripken, A-Rod, Tejada, and Jeter have hit more homers as a shortstop than Jimmy Rollins, who has 198.
And not a big guy, but pretty good pop.
420 career steals. 2,148 hits for Rollins on a hop that gets past Castro. And the Phillies have something cooking here in the 6th. 3 consecutive hits and a run already in.
Yeah, just location suffering here for Samardzija in the 6th. Made some mistakes up. There's a splitter that stayed up. It was drifting off the plate, but up. And all 3 hits really well struck by the Phillies here.
Here's the number 3 hitter, Utley. Not getting any easier.
No, a comfortable lead all of a sudden doesn't feel so comfortable, does it? A couple of guys on, and Utley, and then Dominic Brown to follow.
Normally Murphy would be pulled way off the 3rd base line, but he can't do that here with that runner at 2nd.
Might be about a pitch or 2 away from a Chris Bosio mound visit here. That front side starting to leak a little bit.
Two and 0.
Now we'll get a Darwin Barney mound visit.
Grab the rosin bag, maybe. We'll just talk to the glove.
Little glove talk.
Swing and a miss.
They got a little greedy there on 2-0. Can understand the thinking. They're down 4. He's looking to do something big.
Pushes it to 3-1.
Successful with splitters to Utley early, but he might not have a lot of confidence right now. He's starting to fly open, and when he does that, he misses away, and you're more likely to hang that splitter. Now, if you don't feel comfortable that you can get on top and drive that ball down in the zone, the splitter becomes a dangerous pitch here.
And That ball out into right center, and it's going to roll all the way to the wall. Young's going to score. So will Rollins. Utley's got a triple. That's 2 triples for the Phillies in the inning. And they're right back in it. That comfortable lead has almost been erased here in the first 4 batters.
Yeah, it was comfortable for a couple of different reasons. One, the scoreboard, and 2, just how well Samardzija was throwing the ball. You could not see this coming. But it has been a Philly ambush here in the 6th inning. And again, nothing cheap about any of these hits. They're just knocking the tar out of the baseball. Can still scoot. Utley runs well too. Well enough anyway. Reminiscent of the game in San Diego the other day when the Cubs had the big 6-0 lead get away.
Brown bounces foul. Still nobody out. A 2-run lead, but Utley is at third.
The Cubs play back for Brown, so they're going to concede that run on a ground ball on the infield. We talked earlier about how you have to be mentally tough when the elements are extreme. And so here's a game where Samardzija is in complete control, cruising along, no sweat. And all of a sudden he just takes, bam, their best punch right on the chin. And you're reeling a little bit out there. You're thinking, how's this getting away from me? Have to find a way to kind of turn the page, refocus, and just make pitches.
2-2.
Yeah, the tendency when you've been going as well as he has, when you start to give up hard contact, then you get a little gun shy and start getting behind, and that becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
We'll get the run in. Ground ball to Barney. Barney really struggling down that line. As he knocks in his 81st run, the bases are now empty. It's 5-4. Cubs Authentics is the premier outlet for all MLB authenticated Cubs memorabilia, from game used baseballs, bases, and jerseys to autographed bats and photos. Cubs Authentics has the most exclusive Cubs memorabilia. Visit the Wrigley Field Concourse, the Cubs store across from Wrigley Field, or Cubs.com/authentics for all your Cubs memorabilia needs. Samardzija back to the wind with nobody on. Ruiz fouls.
Yeah, good pitch there. Back to basics. Good down and away fastball. Can't get hurt there. Maybe punch a single the other way. Never been a big believer in that hitting is contagious adage. I think it's just what happens. The pitchers start to struggle and then they try to throw their way out and they make mistakes over the heart of the plate. Hitting was rarely contagious when Greg Maddux was on the mound. You know, because he continued to make pitches. Yep. He didn't panic and he'd start trying to throw right by guys. Maybe even get a little softer.
Cubs spreading out their 5 runs. The first 5 innings against Roy Halladay. Phillies with 4 quick ones here in the 6th. The 3-2 count on Ruiz. over his head on ball 4. First walk for Samardzija.
Just squirted out of his hand. I don't know if he's trying to throw a slider or split.
Here comes Chris Bosio.
And clearly, on a day like today, you know, you think of the pitch count a little bit differently than you do on a 74-degree afternoon.
While we have a moment, let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. No action in the Cubs bullpen. Phillies had the tying run on. The line on Halladay, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. They were all earned. He walked 2, struck out 1, and gave up 2 homers. Double play ball. Murphy, Barney, Rizzo. And did Samardzija need that? They get 4. The Cubs do keep the lead. It's now 5-4. With 4 runs on a couple of triples, couple of singles in the 6th. Cubs had a 5-0 lead before that. Rizzo and Scherholtz with home runs. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, as reliable as the cars themselves. We had a power outage when Nate Scherholtz hit the home run, but here's an artist rendering of that home run. Although he's a left-handed hitter, you kind of get it. It works.
Like the old SNL bit with Chevy Chase doing Weekend Update and the sketches from the courtroom.
Franzen, who tripled to start that big top half of the inning, stays in and plays first. Ruff goes to left. You could see Dominic Brown really laboring as he was running in the outfield, and then on a ground ball, and he's out. Zach Minor, the pitcher, goes into the 4th spot in the Phillies order. I'm assuming that's why Brown is out. And we had a Brown out.
Otherwise, you wouldn't take his bat out of the lineup. And Minor, 8 times he has pitched for the Phillies this year. And a bunch of times down at AAA. A veteran guy, he's been around, former starting pitcher with the Tigers. Fastball, slider, curve, and a change. Likes his changeup.
His Philly debut on August 3rd.
Nothing coming easy for the Cubs at home these days, and what appeared to be an easy win is all of a sudden a 1-run ball game.
One and two to Barney. Minor working quickly. It's low. Yeah, will 5 runs be enough to win this game?
I'm going to go with no. I'm thinking the Cubs are going to have to score again to win this one.
It's full 3-2, so Marge is on deck.
Dale Swaim going to lean on Samardzija for one more here.
Called strike 3. Barney not so sure.
Look down. Pitch tracks. Had it on the knees. Well, regardless of where it was on the graphic there, normally don't see that one called. Guessing there was a conversation in the Cubs dugout at the end of the top half of the inning, and Jeff Samardzija was asked how he felt. You know he's not going to say anything, but I'm good to go.
One and two on Samardzija. And he could not hold. So 2 outs. It's Castro, knocked in a couple with a double in the 4th. The 6'4" right-hander deals a strike.
Good giddy up on that fastball today for Minor. That one at 94.
Cubs out hitting the Phillies 7-6. Leading on the run board 5-4.
Castro able to split that gap in right center last time up. That's going to be a challenge in this at bat. They're really punching him towards that right center gap.
Ahead now in the count, 3-1. Minor made his major league debut with Detroit in 06.
Turn on this one.
Ball 4.
3-1 change piece.
We'll give Lake a chance. So before this year, Minor's previous major league experience came in 2009. He had Tommy John surgery in 2010.
Smoke on the water for Junior Lake.
Yeah, Gary Pressey with some deep purple. Lake into center. Bernardina barely had to move. He hit it hard, but 4 and out. We go to the 7th. 5-4 Cubs. And everyone thinks Mark Wahlberg is the star, but no!
Hey, it's me.
John Lovitz is starring in the Transformers.
Well,
little did you know.
That? I had no idea. Actually, it's true. I've transformed myself into Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, I like it. So tell us about the new
action
movie.
hero. I could see you doing the action hero thing.
What would be your action hero? What action hero would you be?
Well, he would need motivation to run through the enemy. There'd have to be a hamburger or pie on the other side. So I'd really be running to that.
There you go. I'm doing some promotions
look
for
at
it.
Yes.
We
Who
got
am I supposed to be in? What am I, the owner of the Transformers?
One strike on John Mayberry.
I could have said that.
But you didn't.
High fly on a third baseman has it.
How are you, John? No. Correct. No. Because they have to be at first and second, or bases loaded.
Yes. 4 bases loaded.
First and
Less
second
than 2
are
outs.
bases loaded. Right. Ground ball to short. Castro to first for the out. Let's check out your first pitch, John. Thank you. I'll let you call it. What's 24? What's that for?
Mays.
Okay.
Now it was. Oh, my mic went out. I can't hear you.
I don't know if your mic's on anymore.
Hello. Oh, there it is.
There you are.
It was so far away. I threw it like that high. Now I had no chance to warm up, but I threw. If you see me, I threw it again. You'll see a knuckleball. Watch. Here comes the knuckleball. Oh, they cut it out.
There we go. We'll show it.
It was about an 85 mile an hour. Oh.
That was 85 miles an hour?
Well, it was before you showed it.
I got
it. Was before we had video.
Better on radio.
I didn't know you were going to show it.
Otherwise, yeah.
I didn't know you were going to show it.
Franzen
That
drives
ball's
that ball
going back
to deep
away
left.
back to the wall. It's gone. Home run. It's out of here.
And it's a tie game.
And it's a tie game. 5-all. Will the Cubs pull it out? Don't you ever get excited?
Not when the other team hits it, John. That was a Philly.
Point.
Do you want to redo it with a level of remorse over the fact that he had all run against the Cubs?
Call it like you would if you're a Cubs announcer.
And it's a bunt. Oh, a lucky bunt line drive. Bunt line drive for a home run.
Sherholtz.
Another hit. It's going back into the corner of right field. He's at second, and he holds up. Boy, if he was really fast, he could have gone to third.
You're right. You're doing some stand-up this weekend?
Yeah, at the Improv in Schaumburg, Illinois, in the mall, Westfield Mall. It'll be 2 shows tonight, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. Improv.com. You can look up the times.
Yeah,
it's a funny show.
Improv.com.
You came last time. You come to every show, and you gave me a standing ovation. Remember?
I do. It was wonderful.
Okay.
What was the highlight? The part when he did that bit about...
Yeah, he did that baseball bit.
I do a baseball bit about this, right? I did a character goes, I'm Vinny Baba, the voice of the Chicago Cubs. Coming to the plate now, Jimmy Slaughterhouse Jones. Here's the pitch. It's a hit. The ball's going back, away back to the wall. It's a home run. Boy, that ball must be landed in the Great Lakes right about now. And oh, I can feel the splash clear up to here. And here comes the... Wait, I forget. Here comes the fish. The splash clear up to here. And look, the fish has got the ball in his mouth. He's wearing a Cubs uniform. He's out. That's how you announce a game, Len. Right. Not like, there's the pitch. Well, now I'll do your style. Okay, 1-1 the count. I think the pitcher's going to throw it. No, not yet. Everybody's taking it back. Len. Oh, sorry.
I'm waiting.
All right.
This is your inning.
Falling asleep.
This is your inning.
All good. 1-1 the count. Man on second. Here's the pitch. High for a ball.
What year was what year was League of Their Own shot?
90.
Been over 20 years, hasn't it?
91 or 92. Yeah. Yeah, a lot was out here in Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Now here's it. 2-1 the count. Here comes the pitch. Outside. That ball was smoking.
Chase
that's
Utley
a great
on deck.
scoreboard, but you got to add up the score every time you look at it.
It does require you to do some math. Yes.
Is it 5-all?
It is 5-all.
Nice, good job. Or you could just look at the monitor and show it there every now and then.
Where does it say 5-all?
Up there in the corner.
Oh, now you tell me.
Look out!
That's a fly, but oh, it hit Len in the head.
That was a foul. We bring back foul every time you come to the booth. Remember you made up foul?
Oh, yeah. What was that?
A fly ball that was foul is called a foul.
A foul. Well, see, that's clever. You'd be the only one saying it. It's a full count, man on second. Here's the pitch. Ooh, inside. He almost hit him, and he walks him. Man on first and second. Boy, this game is getting tense. Now here's you. And a ball, and he goes to first.
That's going to be it. Not for you, John. That'll be it for Jeff Samardzija. Tough day for him. James Russell will come on and face Chase Utley.
Jeff Samardzija. Well, he's done a good job throwing a lot of pitches, but 103 pitches. And he's pooped. And in this heat, that's not an easy feat to do.
Right.
And with all the Tommy John surgeries going around the league, I think it's best to take him out.
Throw us to break, John.
We'll be right back after this. Interim announcer, Len is in the restroom. The pitcher is Russell. The game is tied at 5-all. There's a man at first and second, and there's 2 outs. And coming to the plate, another Philly.
Chase Utley's coming to the plate.
Chase Utley. And by Philly, I don't mean female horse. I mean a baseball player.
Just elbow one of us if you want a name. You know, we'll insert the name in your call.
2 outs, man on first and second. Here's the pitch. Outside.
No, it was a strike.
Was it?
It was.
Details.
Not from up here. Get a new one. 0-1 the count. And it's a long high fly ball to left field. He's got it, and that's it.
Ready to sing, John?
I got to sing.
Here we go.
At the end of 6 1/2. It's the 7th inning stretch.
Love it.
All right, Cubs fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the... If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Great to meet you.
John Lovitz, guest play-by-play man. Swing and a miss. Good changeup from Zach Miner. It's a 5-5 deadlock. Boy, Kevin Franzen has had an impact on this game, hasn't he? Came into pinch hit in the 6th. He tripled and scored. Started a 4-run rally and then a game-tying homer here in the top of this 7th.
Dale Swaim let Jeff take that at bat in the bottom half of the 6th, hoping to get one more out of him, and wasn't able to do it. Now we're tied, and that's the conundrum a manager faces. You get through the middle innings, you try to, especially if it's the guys at the top of your rotation. Ideally, the game plan is get them as deep as possible, hand the ball off to your 8th and 9th inning guy. Don't know how much the heat had to do with it today, but kind of bizarre the way this game turned so quickly on Jeff.
The pitch, big swing, and a tapper foul near the Philly dugout. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 strikeouts for Miner in an inning and a third.
We talked about his changeup when he first came into the ball game. It's a real go-to pitch for him, especially against the lefties, and that was a really good one there. He just fooled Rizzo with.
Navarro with 1 out, nobody on.
Tie ball game, but the guys in the first base dugout feel a whole lot better about things than the guys in the third base side do. I was looking for somebody to turn that around. And speaking of guys in the first base dugout, Cubs have played winning baseball under Rhino. 8-6. They've been outscored during that stretch by the opposition. Their batting average is just .213. They haven't pitched particularly well, but they've managed to play winning baseball. The Phillies, I might have said the Cubs. It's hot up here. John Lovitz is got in my head a little bit.
A flare base hit, not a foul, a flare. Navarro's 2 for 4. Bring up Sherholtz, who's already homered today.
We're going to see the lefty.
Jake Diekman.
Nasty one at that.
Pitching change here in the bottom of the 7th and a 5-5 tie. 1 out and a 5-5 tie.
Diekman, a hard throwing left-hander, average fastball about 96 miles an hour. That's average. A hard slider as well. Occasionally will use a changeup. Allowed 1 home run so far. 29 plus innings with the Phillies. He also had allowed just 1 home run in 30 innings of work with their AAA club. Extreme ground ball guy, but he also can get you to swing and miss. Starts from the extreme third base side of the rubber. Kind of throws across his body. Creates a very difficult angle for a left-handed hitter. Hard to keep that front side in. Looks like he's stepping right at you in that left-handed batter's box.
Missed again, 2-0.
Walk would be just fine. Normally, Sherholtz would be looking to turn loose here on 3-1, but with this tough lefty, maybe a little more patient.
Ball 4, 2 on. They push the go-ahead runner into scoring position for Donnie Murphy.
If you're wondering why didn't Dale hit for Sherholtz there, this guy being so tough on left-handers, because Brian Bogusevic follows Murphy here. So if you're going to start pinch hitting for your left-handed hitters against Diekman, you're probably going to hit for Sherholtz and Bogusevic. You're in a tie ball game. You got to be careful that you don't exhaust your options on the bench.
Strike called, 96 on the fastball.
As you would expect, right-handed hitters see the ball a heck of a lot better off Diekman than lefties. Right-handed batter sitting 323 against him. Lefties just 180.
Diekman, you would imagine, likes to go forehand, backhand on the shootout.
I would think.
His 1-1 is hit in the air foul off of first, out of play.
These are the fastballs Donnie wasn't missing when it first came up.
Called strike 3. Ball got away from Ruiz, but it was right at his feet. 2 down.
Going against the grain here. He walked the lefty, punched out the righty. Good low fastball. if he thought it was low. James Hoy has shown that he would call the low strike in this game. I always get that call when the catcher doesn't catch it. Usually don't.
Darnell McDonald will hit for Bogusevic. That'll bring Rich Doobie out to the mound. Phillies infield on the mound as well.
Bring the outfield in.
Pitch outside for ball one.
A little like Chris Sale with that delivery.
That's a good call. McDonald 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter. Make it 2 for 7. Navarro coming around third. Mayberry's throw to the plate is in time. They got him. And we remain tied. It's 5-5 after 7. Make it.
No, and speed not a big part of his game, and on a hot day when you've been catching, it takes even a little bit more out of those legs. David Bell sending him with 2 outs at the bottom of the order up. Not a bad send. Just didn't work.
Now remember, it was in Philadelphia when he sprained his ankle when he got run into by Chase Utley. So we're still tied. McDonald stays into play left. And Pete Orr, left-handed hitter, will pinch hit for the pitcher Diekman against James Russell.
Well, you got a whole hockey theme going here, don't you? Deke Man and Orr.
And Orr, yeah. Not wearing number 4, though.
Canadian, but no relation. That would be the Bobby Orr, in case you were wondering. Maybe some of our viewers don't know what we're talking about. Just make certain assumptions, but Google him. He was pretty good.
Orr selected from AAA Lehigh Valley on Tuesday, and he tried to bunt and missed it. Whole career has been played in the East. Braves, Nationals, and Phillies.
When David was sending DeHonor there was just a little pang of guilt. Got to send you, big guy.
You got it with 2 outs, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. Ball could kick away. And a number of things. And he almost avoided that tag by Ruiz.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. That'll be it for Russell. Two-thirds of an inning for Russell. Pedro Strop will face Carlos Ruiz when we come back. Our good buddy Michael McDermott, who sings the national anthem quite a bit here at Wrigley, does a great rendition. Dreams About Trains. Cubs baseball brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Pedro Strop, hard-throwing righty, facing Carlos Ruiz. Quickly 0-2.
Pedro gave up a run the other night in LA. A game the Cubs won, the Kershaw game, when Woody beat him 3-2. He was credited with a hold, but he allowed 1 run on 2 hits in 1 inning of work. Noteworthy because it's only the 2nd time since he joined the Cubs that he's been scored upon.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 5-5 in the 8th. The Cubs got the first 5. The Phillies with 5 unanswered to tie it up. Bounce to Murphy. Rough 1 out of 3. How about Cardinals and Pirates this weekend in Pittsburgh? Miller and Liriano tonight.
Cardinals just got done playing the Reds.
St. Louis with a 1-game lead in the division.
They're trying to tweak their roster here for September 1. Marlon Byrd now a Pirate. John Axford now a Cardinal.
Another matchup involving playoff contenders. Rays are in Oakland. David Price, Jared Parker tonight. Tampa Bay has lost 4 of 5.
Ruff with 11 home runs, 9 here in the month of August. First rookie to have a month like that since Ryan Howard in 2005 when he hit 10 in September of that year. See ya.
He got him. Strop does his job. We're tied at 5 in the 8th. Sandberg, Gary Matthews, all teammates with the Phillies and the '84 Cubs. Always great to see the Sarge working in the Phillies TV booth.
Always rocking a good hat.
Yes. Would there be irony there that a lot of hats he wore as a player he would intentionally knock off while he was running the bases? That would be funny if every time he got up to walk to the lunchroom from the booth he
flipped his cap.
Yeah. B.J. Rosenberg is on for the Phillies. They're going to try to win a game in which Roy Halladay gave up 5 runs in his 5 innings. This game in the hands of each bullpen now.
Rosenberg called up August 16th, 6 consecutive scoreless appearances. Opposing batters 2 out of 19 against him. Totals for the year, not quite as impressive.
Product of the University of Louisville, 13th round pick in 2008 of the Phillies. Logan Watkins on deck as a pinch hitter on a 3-2 count on Barney.
Rosenberg saw big league action for the first time last year. He was 1-2 with a 6.12 ERA in 22 appearances. He made 1 start. Starts with that splitter grip.
Full windup, payoff delivery, and a high fly to left. That's rough out there. Remember, he began the game at first. And here's the rookie Watkins. Looking in that same 08 draft in the 21st round by the Cubs. Logan Watkins. And a strike. Long day for the home plate umpire James Hoy. He's got some good back sweat working. Started at 91 and the temperature rising. Pretty good name for an old grunge band, Back Sweat.
I thought you were going to say temperature rising. Back sweat probably is a little better.
1-2.
Rosenberg with the starting pitcher's arsenal. Fast curve, slider, change. I think the split is his changeup.
Watkins late on that swing. 2 down.
A good life, good arm side run and that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Seven, 8, 9 due for the Phillies in the top half of the 9th, but remember 9 is now Kevin Franzen, and he's the man of the match so far today for the Phils, tripling a home run.
The homer tied it. That's a fair ball into the corner. Castro picked on a breaking ball, and he'll be at second for Junior Lake.
Second double of the day for Castro. Kind of walk sandwich between the two doubles. First one came in the fourth to right center. That was on a breaking ball too. And at the time talked about his ability to hit the breaking ball in the zone. If you get ahead of him, he'll chase that pitch out of the zone. But pitchers are playing to his strength when they throw him off speed or breaking balls in the strike zone.
A little better than league average here with 2 outs, but the Phillies pitching staff's been stingy in allowing 2-out runs with a man on second. Pitch to Lake. Ball 1. This ball might stay in the field of play. No. So tomorrow is the 3:05 start. We already see some shadows starting to creep over the field. We'll be in about the 3rd inning tomorrow. We've had some days where it really has looked like it's been tough to see the pitches. Those late afternoon starts.
And when that ball passes from the bright light into the shadows, becomes an issue for the hitters. Not supposed to be quite as hot tomorrow. As Yogi said, it's not the heat, it's the humility. It's hard to say that without humidity coming out. And Yogi said, not the heat, but the humility. Supposedly. Big pitch coming. Could be a game changer. 5-5, man in scoring position.
Swing and a miss to end the inning. We'll go to the ninth, tied at 5.
Tie game at home. Most managers will go to the closer. Dale Schweim, no exception here. Kevin Gregg takes the ball for the 53rd time. 2-3, 27 saves and 32 tries. Picked up number 27 Tuesday in L.A. Preserving that 3-2 win for Travis Wood. Walked a man, and that was it.
Do the quick math here. Carry the 3. He's averaged about an inning per appearance. Kevin Gregg. 52 innings pitched in 52 games.
And that's pretty much the norm for the modern closer. Usually not asked to go more than one.
Ball 2 on Mayberry, who is 0 for 3 at the plate, but remember he threw out Deanna Navarro, who was trying to score the go-ahead run in the bottom of the 7th. That's a strike, well placed.
David Bell sending Navarro home, much like a lot of parents putting their kids on the school bus for the first time the other day. I know you don't want to go, but come on, you got to go.
Sun really tricky for the right fielder right now. Sherholtz prepared. 1 away.
Using the gloves, got the shades on.
One and one to Bernardina.
Teammates call him the Shark too. So Shark versus Shark when Samardzija was out there.
Franzen on deck. And he's going to bat with Bernardina on, and 1 out. That one got him in the upper arm. Greg trying to own the inner part of the plate on a 1-2 pitch, and he got in too much.
Probably trying to throw that 2-seamer that runs back to the corner. They're going up, just trying to throw an elevated fastball, looking for a swing and miss. Bernardina, good speed, 56 career steals, been caught 11 times. Three for 3 this year, hasn't tried since joining the Phillies. Ryan Sandberg, I got to believe you're thinking we need to get Bernardina into scoring position for Franzen the way he's swinging it today.
Well, the way he's been swinging it, he already is in scoring position. Triple and a homer.
And with his speed, he should score on just about any double.
Wind is still blowing out, but it has quieted down a bit. Flags were pretty stiff when we started.
bullpen in pretty good shape. Travis Wood went 7 on Tuesday. Edwin Jackson 6 2/3 Wednesday. Off day yesterday. Ooh.
Michael Young on deck. 1-1 on Franzen. Bernardina hit by a pitch. Got a base stealers lead over there. Cubs pitch out and he wasn't running. 2-1. Phillies closer Jonathan Papelbon stretching out. Runner going that time, and it's rolled foul.
Wow. Like a hit and run play. Surprised. I thought they just let Bernardina try a straight steal, but that swing by Franzen, clearly that was a hit and run. I mean, they had the right side wide open with Barney covering.
Just announced as we guessed, Dominic Brown left with soreness in his right Achilles that had been bothering him lately. Runner goes again. Here's the throw to second, into center. And a trip by Bernardina. Man, that helps the Cubs. He was trying to get up and head to third, and he might be hurt.
Yeah, there was a little contact out there between Bernardina and Darwin Barney, but Bob Davidson signaling right away, no obstruction.
Tripped over the bag.
Tripped over the bag, and then
tweaked an ankle. Meanwhile, 3-2 on Kevin Franzen. That little trip saved Navarro from getting an error, and also from the Cubs having to bring their infield in. Bernardina holding at second.
Might have saved the ball game.
Popped into shallow left center. It's Junior Lake, and that's out number 2. Back to the top, and Young, who already has 3 hits. He has been a hit machine, 2,355 and counting for Michael Young. Whole career with Texas prior to this season. Traded on December 9th. And a breaking ball strike. Young's a free agent after the season. He'll turn 37 in mid-October.
Good pitch. At no point in this at bat do you ever get into the mindset, well, I'm just going to challenge him. That's the go ahead run in second base. You got to be a pitch maker, and 2-1, he clips the outside corner. If you don't have that 98-mile-an-hour gas, you got to locate.
Floated out in the shallow right. It's going to drop for a hit. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. Bernardina is safe, and the Phillies have their first lead of the afternoon And it comes with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Michael Young with his 4th hit.
Well, didn't hit it hard, but he's always been good going the other way. Little cutter off the edge and down a little bit. Not a bad pitch at all. That's how he's gotten to that lofty hit total. Closer than I thought it would be at home with Bernardino running and 2 outs.
So for sure it'll be Papelbon now in the bottom of the 9th. Cubs will have Rizzo, Navarro, and Scherholtz. All Cubs early. 5-0 into the 6th. But the Phillies got 4 that inning. They tied it on a home run in the 7th and grabbed the lead here in the 9th. On the outside. Two to Rollins. In the air, and it's McDonald to put it away. Michael Young with a 2-out RBI single, and the Phillies lead in the 9th, 6-5.
Got a free agent pen over here.
They came armed with extras.
3-year deal.
Just hope everybody's all right below.
Papelbon, 22 saves and 28 tries. Not the overpowering guy he once was. Fastball velocity down. In 2011, he sat at 95. Last year, just a little before 94. This year, according to Fangraphs, just a little above 92 miles an hour with the fastball. That secondary pitch, the splitter, that's always been the case. He'll throw the slider as well. Splitter really makes him tough on lefties.
Been a good day for Rizzo. 2 hits, including a homer. He's reached 3 out of 4 trips. And he takes ball 1.
That one clocked at 89 miles an hour. That will get people's attention in the dugout.
Papelbon doesn't take nearly as long as he once did between pitches. Utley will charge it, and he'll flip to Franzen for the first out. Well, it looked like the Cubs had this one in the bag early on. They let a 5-0 lead get away. And they've got 2 outs here to get at least a run.
Yes, that's 2 in a week, essentially. Big leads that they let get away. Strikeout rate is down for Papelbon, as you might guess, with that loss in velocity, but the walk numbers improved as well.
Chad Lombardi wishing for a late Cub comeback on his 25th birthday. Hope it's a good one. Five-time All-Star closer. It's a ground ball off the bat of Navarro. A couple of 4-3 putouts. And it'll be up to the former Philly, Nate Scherholz.
Already went deep today. Nate hitting his 20th back in the 4th. Nate really has been the steadiest performer among the position players this year for the Cubs.
Takes ball 1 outside. I imagine Papelbon will stay away in this at bat unless he goes hard in. Trying to stay away from Scherholz's power. Going out there again.
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
If he gets that call, he'll try to hit that spot 2 more times. 1-1.
Well, we've been talking for a long time now about Nate surpassing his single season best in terms of home run. Now he's more than doubled it. 9 was his best prior to this year in a single season. Quite candidly, when asked about it, why, he just has opportunity, just getting a chance to play more frequently. Month to play, and he's already had more at-bats in this season than any other single season in his career.
Ground ball toward right. What a play by Utley to end it. Papelbon pumps his fist, and the Phillies steal one away. They erase a 5-0 deficit and win the game late. 6-5 Phillies, the final. We'll have more from Wrigley Field in a moment.